Hi, and welcome to the Corporate Expat Mom broadcast, our regular Friday noon session. I'm your host, Elena Gomez Rodriguez, and I am a trauma-informed mental fitness coach. And if you're thinking like, say what? Because you never heard that expression before, just give me a while, see a little bit, tune in this broadcast, you will understand what I mean by that because I will show you. Now, if you're here today, it's because you got attracted by the title of the live broadcast today, which is about still keeping to achieve, being the high achiever without burning out, because you might have noticed that it costs you something and you want to avoid that. So let's dive in. Hyperachiever is a strength, right? You're proud of it. You love that you can do so much and you're getting compliments on how much you achieve. It's celebrated in the corporate cultures as well because you are the person that people look up to, how much you can make happen, how you're driving your team towards having results, and you're driving yourself really hard. You're super hardworking and you're trying to be an example for you and your team. That's a strength. However, it can quickly turn into a weakness, as any strength, if you overuse it. And if that's your main focus and you lose sight of the wider context, it can become your Achilles. How? Now, let me shake up your world a little bit if you're ready for that. Hyperachievers lie number one: I must be best at what I do. Now, are you waiting like, what is this? Like, yes, of course. This has been one of your mantras, right, so far. Why is that a lie? I put it in the description box for this live example of, can you remember the last time you saw an athlete like burn down or crack at the most critical point of the match or the game? Because the pressure to succeed was so high and all eyes were on them that they cracked. Think about yourself. If you must be best at what you do, how much stress does it cause you to strive for that perfection? Because this hyperachiever goes hand in hand with perfectionist. How much stress do you feel anytime you're putting out your work out there? How much doubt is there coming along with it? Well, I should give it more because it needs to be better, and comparing yourself to others to make sure that you're the best, because anything that's not best is not even worthy of putting out there. Do you identify with that? Now, the cost of this, the good side is that it pushes you for higher quality of result, but the downside is that instead of actually shooting for big goals, you're playing it small because you're afraid to reach that like unbelievably crazy dream that you have out there for having even bigger impact, because it might mean that you would have to try something that's out of your comfort zone, something new. You might need to learn new skills, and you're not comfortable taking that risk of not being the best because that takes a learning curve, that takes time. It means failing at the beginning. You're not willing to fail. Absolutely not. So you see what it's costing you, why it's a lie? I know these are not obvious, but just keep your ears open. Let's see. Lie number two: I must be efficient and effective. So because that's the strive for doing, and you don't have just one thing on your to-do list. And it's not just if you're like a busy expat mom here, like for who I'm doing this live stream, but any corporate high performer, anybody who's living with this hyperachiever voice in your head, like this is one of your other mantras. I must be efficient and productive and a high performer. So let's keep pushing, huh? Now, how is that a lie? What are the examples of your own life and career when you saw that this attitude actually hurt you, this focus on performance only or effectiveness? I can think of mine where you think about bigger picture than just your professional life, but your life overall. Like this starts hurting your relationships because people start feeling used by you. They start feeling like I'm just an instrument. You just work with me to get things done, but I don't matter to you. They don't feel like the quality of the relationship you create with them is not going deep enough for them to be invested in your vision, because you don't attract them by vision. You don't emphasize the vision. The vision is lacking there, the common vision for everybody, because you focus on getting it done, and it's your goal for your ego, for your identity, for your success, so that you can feel good about yourself. That's why the drive to achieve is not bad in itself, but if it's rooted, and we will get to that where it's rooted, if it's rooted by that feeling that you must be efficient and effective, and that this is a requirement, otherwise you're not good enough, then this is where it starts causing problems. Okay. Hyperachievers, line number 3, if you're ready. I'm worthy as long as I'm successful. And now we are getting to the roots of it. If this is what makes you drive so hard, then that's a problem. Because you're putting your validation in the hands of the external world, everybody around you, or even if it's selected a group of people that you depend on for your self-validation, approval, appreciation, love, then you have a problem, because you cannot control the external environment, and you're putting your power away. Unless that self-validation and feeling of success or worthiness, love, yeah, I know those are touchy-feely words for you, but unless it comes from the inside, it will always be a big, empty, black hole. And we will get to that, right? You will keep filling it with the next goal, the bigger one, and let's achieve, and so that I deserve the eyes of everybody and the applause, so that then I can finally feel good enough. Yeah, it's a lie. This is a hungry monster that will always need to be fed, that will always keep pushing you to achieve higher, bigger, better. It will never be happy. Yeah. So if that celebration, if that success doesn't last long, then this is you. This is the trap you're in right now. Mm-hmm. So how to get out now? How to use the strengths, that determination, that drive, that ambition, without all of its negative side effects. How to do that? So this is where my trauma-informed piece comes first, because you need to get to the roots. You cannot keep just treating the symptoms and like, okay, hyperachiever, and I don't want to burn out, so let me learn some techniques how to be even more productive and how to be a better leader, how to motivate my team so that they don't actually see the real person who I am, which is like, yeah, seeking this approval and success so that I can feel good about myself. So let me go grab those books and those courses. No. You will need to have a look inside and in your childhood without going through therapy. I'm not going to drag you through hours of therapy blaming your parents for everything, but this does come back to your childhood. Either you had demanding parents who were really pushing you like, hey, go get good grades, get amazing job, build great business, because that's where the security comes from. That's where your happiness will come from. And this is the better life than I had, so you need to achieve it. Like, and even if that was not your parents, but this is the overall culture, right? And the American dream. In Europe, in Asia, you can see it. Parents keep pushing their kids like to do better than them. And it's, on one hand, it's understandable. Of course, as a parent, you want your child to do better than you, but watch out what seeds you're planting in their head. Seeking, like needing the approval from the outside so that they can feel good about themselves. Is that what happened to you when you were growing up? It did to me. So understand what's underneath that, and that this is the reason why you will keep running. Like your hyperachiever will keep running the show, and you will feel like you want to shut it down so that you don't have to feel that void, that emptiness or depression. Like you use your success and achievement to fill that void. That's why you hate talking about feelings and thinking about emotions. That's a nice way to put it. You don't want to talk about emotions. You want to keep people at distance because you're afraid that once they get to know you, that you're different and you're not as perfect as the image you're trying to put outside. You don't want to talk about feelings because those are distractions from hitting your goals, and that's what matters the most. That's where it's all coming from. And that void, that hungry monster, will never be fed from the outside. It can only come from inside, and giving that validation and that acceptance to yourself first. Step number 2, see what the hyperachiever lives cost you. We were talking about that. It's that peace and happiness. Like, you think you do it, I'll be happy when. So you want to achieve that goal so that you can be finally happy and feel good about yourself. But is that really true? How long do you celebrate after you hit a major goal? How long does it take you before you start planning the next one, the bigger one? Because you're restless. You need to go achieve. And at the same time, you're still playing it safe. Like all the people outside, they think like, yeah, those are great, amazing success, what you're achieving and what you're planning. But that big one, that dream that you have, you're scared to go for it because it's not safe. You might fail. Failure is not acceptable because it would make everybody see that you're just a fake, that you don't have it all figured out yet. No? So that's the problem, that you're attaching the success to your identity. You define who you are based on how much you achieve. This is where we need to detach from that. That's what I'm trying to get. I hope you're getting there with me. Let me know. So step 3, finally. How to do that? Shift to sage. So this is the positive intelligence speak from saboteurs, like the judge that we spoke about last week. So we spoke about judge and the perfectionist last week. Today we talk about the hyperachiever. Next week we talk about pleaser. Those are all the saboteur voices in your head. They're trying to steal your calm and peace and happiness in some way. We are all busting those myths, and I'm trying to show you a way how to live without them and shift to sage. Sage, Yoda, the wiser self, the sage. Yeah, really, it's the sage, the Zen voice inside of you that's not swinged by all that turmoil, and that is or voice of intuition. If you're listening to it, if you're hyperachiever, probably you're not. So however you want to call it, this is where you need to shift in order to stop listening to your hyperachiever saboteur and to realize that indeed every failure is an opportunity for more learning. It's a gift. It doesn't mean that like your identity drops, that your value, that you're not worthy of love. The sage will still make you keep going and achieve the goals, but you will plan them with the vision in mind, the vision of some value, of taking more relationships into account, not just driving for the tasks to get done, but taking people in with you on that journey. But that's easier said than done. How do you start? And I have a funny homework for you if you're up for the challenge. Take your childhood picture. Look for a photograph on which you are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, before all of these saboteurs got really implanted and imprinted in your DNA. Look at that picture. Look your little self in the eye, ideally several times a day. But for the first time you do it, I know this sounds really funny, but do it and see what happens. Look for that sage, look for that essence in you. Before any of these expectations, any of this pressure, conditional love, any of that stuff got impact on you, see you, for who you are. And it's not easy, and I'm not saying it is. It looks simple, but it's not easy. because there will be voices, and there are, I'm sure, in that pause that I made, I'm sure there were voices jumping in like, this is stupid. And your judge and inner critic like, even if you do it, then you will be criticizing how you look, or you'll feel sorry for yourself for what happened to you and who hurt you when you were a child, like, oh, blaming parents, or comparisons, or all your saboteurs will jump out. Stick with it, please. Do that homework, ideally several times a day. For sure, think about, because then once you start looking at your picture regularly, like for me, I don't even have to look at it now, it's in my head. So whenever I feel like, ooh, getting a little bit stressed or tight about some deadlines and getting things done, I start like, okay, this is my hyperachiever. Picture in front of my eyes, picture my little self, and see her and who I am, and that I'm worthy of love and appreciation and of just being for who I am, not having to prove anything to anybody, not having to succeed, not having to impress anyone with the big goals that I'm going to achieve. This is the homework. And I bet you didn't get any homework like this in your management classes and everything, but this is what it takes to start busting those saboteur voices in your head. Okay. And it's just a start. I'm not saying that if you keep doing that every day that you will be healed after 1 day or 2 days or even a week. But it's a start. If you want to continue with me, this is what I'm doing. Now you understand a little bit more what I'm doing. Trauma informed. I go to the roots and the mental fitness piece of that. And I have to give credits to Shirzad Shamin, Positive Intelligence, because this is his masterpiece. This is not something I made up, but I use it now every day in my coaching practice because it really helps. So back to this, if you want to give it a try and see how and what this might do for you and your hyperachiever to be even more efficient, actually, and effective at hitting even bigger goals without burning out, then this is my email. Reach out. And I definitely would love to hear what resonated with you. And if there's, and I'm sure there are any like, yeah, but what about this? What about this? And isn't this a truth? Like everybody, all the parents, teachers, they're telling us to believe you have to be successful. Da, 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 da. If you want to have another conversation, either you can comment here in the chat or send me a private message. Great. I hope you got some value from this. I hope you at least got another perspective and started thinking about some stuff that you took for granted and as the truth has been driving your life so far. So hopefully I busted a few of those bubbles, a few of those myths for you. And my wish is really that it helps you prevent any burnout and stress, and you burning out others as well. And I look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be talking about the pleaser. So stay tuned for next Friday noon. I wish you a great weekend and enjoy with your little one, having a look at your childhood picture. Let me know how it went. Take care, everybody. Bye.